1970, 36 inches of legroom. Today, as little as 28. 6 inches. Lay a tape measure across the row and you can find every one of them. 6 inches of you quietly deleted so an airline could bolt one more row of 6 seats into the same tube of aluminum. This is not a story about comfort. It is a story about who took those inches, who was ordered to stop it, and who instead put the tape measure down. Here is why that matters, and it is not just your knees. The legroom that disappeared from your seat became the single most profitable few inches in modern aviation. Tonight that few inches goes on trial, and by the end, you will know the name of the one government office that was told in writing to protect it and simply refused. Go back to 1970. Economy pitch, the distance from your seat to the one in front, ran 34 to 36 inches. Then it started coming down, 1 inch at a time, over decades. William Magee spent years inside the airline business, and he describes the whole thing in a single sentence. Quote, "They just kept whittling it down until finally it got to the point where just about everybody noticed it."
Quick, honest thing, because this channel is brand new. If a story like this is your kind of thing, subscribing genuinely matters right now. It is the one signal that tells me I am pointing this at the right stuff and should keep going. That is the whole ask. Now, back to the cabin.
So where did it land? The big US carriers now sit around 30 or 31 inches. Spirit and Frontier go as low as 28. Width tells a murkier story. By some counts, the seat narrowed from about 18.5 inches to 16.5, but that figure is genuinely contested, so hold it loosely. The legroom is the part nobody argues about. 6 inches of it gone, and almost nobody was in the room when it left.
Here is the entire business in one picture. Imagine a coffee shop with 10 tables. Someone shows the owner that if every table shrinks just a little, an 11th table fits in the same room. Same rent, same staff, one more table selling coffee all day long. An airplane cabin is that room. Trim the pitch a few inches and you fit one more row, 6 more seats on every single flight that plane ever makes.
6 seats, 3 flights a day, every day, is thousands of extra tickets from one row, at almost pure margin once the plane is full. This traces to one decision. In 1978, Congress deregulated the airlines. Betting competition, not comfort rules, would serve you best. Ganesh Sitaraman, a law professor at Vanderbilt, notes the promise was more airlines and lower fares. What arrived instead was consolidation, until 4 carriers controlled about 80% of the market. Before any verdict, the defense, and it is a real one, flying got radically, historically cheaper. Adjusted for inflation, the average U.S. round trip fell from about $630 in 1979 to $363 by 2017, a 43% drop. A coast-to-coast ticket that ran $1,000 in the 1950s could be had for about $105 on Spirit. Cramming the cabin is part of how that happened, and more people fly today precisely because of it. And the airlines make an honest case for the fees. United's commercial chief, Andrew Nocella, told a Senate hearing in December 2024, quote, "Customers who prioritize affordability can choose a lower fare product and opt out of paying for services they do not want, while customers who want more can pay for a seat with extra legroom or a checked bag. A menu," he argues, "not a downgrade for everyone." One more point for the defense, and it is the strongest. The claim that tight seats are dangerous is, honestly, unproven. The FAA's own evacuation research, and we will get to exactly how that was run, did not find that a 28-inch pitch slowed people down. No court has ruled these seats dangerous. That is the fair, honest version of the other side. Now hold it up against what you actually pay. Henry Hartevelt, an airline analyst who has watched this for 30 years, describes the fight inside every carrier. Quote, "The commercial side, the people who run revenue, want more seats on planes. On the other side are the marketing people trying to act as their passengers' advocates. For 50 years, the revenue side has been winning. And here is what winning looks like on the ledger. Global airline fee revenue, bag fees, seat selection, the charge to sit beside your own child, hit a record $148.4 billion in 2024 and is projected past $157 billion in 2025. In 2016, those fees were about 9% of what airlines made. Now they are nearly 16%. Read that carefully. Shrinking the standard seat did not only cut costs. It manufactured the reason to pay extra for what used to come free. And some of the squeeze is literally welded in. The Boeing 737, the workhorse of American flying, still uses a fuselage cross-section drawn in the 1960s to save money on a new design. That width was fixed before most of us were born. 6 seats across, and no good intentions will ever widen the tube. Paul Hudson, who runs the passenger group Flyers Rights, calls what is left a choice between torture class and merely humane class. So whose fault is the shrink? Remember those 6 inches, 36 down to 28. Nobody stole them in the night. Every single inch was a decision, signed off in a revenue meeting, because a fuller cabin beats a comfortable one on a spreadsheet. The airlines are allowed to make that choice, which is exactly why, back in 2018, the law put someone in the room whose only job was to draw a line the spreadsheet could not cross. One quick thing and then the reckoning. If you want to know which everyday industry we put on trial next, subscribe, and the verdicts come to you. That is the entire ask, and there are no others in this video. Now back to the 6 inches and the one office that was ordered to protect them. In 2018, Congress did draw that line. Section 577 of the FAA Reauthorization Act ordered the agency to set minimum seat dimensions, pitch, width, and length, in its words, necessary for the safety of passengers. It gave the FAA 1 year to do it. This was not a suggestion. It was federal law with a deadline on it. The year passed, then another. The FAA's answer, in its own words, was that it found no evidence of an immediate safety issue necessitating rulemaking. Sit with that. The government was handed a law that said measure the seat, and it decided the tape measure could stay in the drawer. It did run a study, and this is the part that should bother you. Over 12 days, the FAA tested evacuations with up to 775 volunteers, but everyone was an able-bodied adult between 18 and 60. No children, no elderly, no disabled travelers, and anyone who could not physically fit a 28-inch seat was removed before the test began. Senator Tammy Duckworth, who lost both legs serving in Iraq, called the conditions completely unrealistic. So a passenger group, Flyers Rights, took the FAA to a federal court to force the rule Congress had already ordered. Their president, Paul Hudson, put the stakes in plain words. Quote, "Every other place you sit, the seats have gotten bigger. Only on airlines have they gotten smaller. He estimates the current seat comfortably fits maybe a fifth of the population." On March 3, 2023, the court ruled, and it ruled for the FAA. Judge Justin Walker wrote, quote, "Many airline seats are uncomfortably small. That is why some passengers pay for wider seats and extra legroom. But it is not clear and indisputable that airline seats have become dangerously small. Read what the court actually said. Uncomfortable is legal. And more than 7 years after Congress ordered it, there is still no rule. The tape measure is still in the drawer." And then something changed, and it did not come from a courtroom. Last December, a traveler named Amanda Schmidt filmed her parents wedged into a freshly reconfigured WestJet row. 28-inch pitch, seats that did not recline, an extra row crammed in to fit more bodies. Her caption was 6 words. The seats should at least fit normal-sized humans. It passed 1 million views in days. WestJet paused the rollout. Then, on January 16, 2026, it reversed, pulling the added row back out across the fleet. The chief executive, Alexis von Hoensbroech, admitted they had tried seat pitches popular with other airlines to keep fares low, but said it is equally important to react quickly when a product does not meet guests' needs. 7 years of federal law could not move that row. A phone camera did it in 3 weeks.
17 years running international markets, and here is my verdict. The seat did not shrink by accident, and nobody broke the law. It shrank because a fuller cabin pays, and because the one office ordered to draw a line looked at the tape measure and set it down. The airlines I can almost forgive. They answered the incentive in front of them. The empty chair where the regulator should have been, that is the guilty party. Verdict: guilty by absence.
A menu is fair when the baseline is decent. When the baseline is deliberately made miserable so relief can be sold back, that is manufactured scarcity with a boarding pass. Airlines will follow the margin. Passengers with phones can embarrass them case by case, but the line has to be held by the regulator Congress ordered to set a floor. If there is no floor, choice slowly becomes paying extra not to be squeezed.
It becomes manufactured scarcity when the default option is made punitive to compel an upgrade. While a passenger with a phone can be a powerful last resort, the regulator is explicitly designed to be the systemic line of defense. A system that relies on viral shaming to set a basic floor for safety and human dignity has already failed.
The honest answer is that it is both, and that is what makes it hard. Letting a traveler who only wants the cheapest seat buy exactly that is a real service, not a scam, but a default that keeps getting worse, so the escape from it can be sold back to you, is not a neutral menu. It is a toll booth wearing the costume of choice. The tell is who has to act to keep the seat livable. When the only thing that reliably moves the seat back is a viral video and a public relations panic, the market is not self-correcting. It is just occasionally embarrassed. Congress already ordered a floor. A floor would have been boring and permanent instead of depending on whichever family goes viral this year.
The panel lands on the same place I did. A market that only fixes itself when someone films it is not really fixing itself. The verdict stands. So here's the lesson you can steal whatever business you are in. When you make the good version optional and nobody is guarding the floor only ever moves one way. Down, 1 inch at a time, until everybody notices at once. Next time on Grounded, the loyalty program that is now worth more than the airline that flies you, planes included. Tell me where I am wrong in the comments.